As a dean, this virtuous wife is standing on the square of truth that is documented, that's spelled out to a T. See, sacred writings, Holy Scripture verifies Holy Scripture. So we got to understand something of the divine, is that we're talking about divine marriage. We're talking about a virtuous woman. So when we talk about a virtuous woman, we're talking about a particular kind of woman. Not every woman will be a virtuous woman because she ain't willing to put that kind of work in. She in the world and of the world. That's not a virtuous woman. That's not a virtuous wife. That's not the good thing that the scriptures are talking about. It is a distinctly different kind of woman. The virtuous woman is she has not only read Proverbs, the 31st chapter, the 10th to 31st verse, but she found out and she studied what her duties are according to what's prescribed in the sacred writings. So you got to read that, but then you got to go study the sacred writings on the virtuous woman and see what the duties are. The duties are unbelievable. What you think you're doing is not the duties of a virtuous woman. Now you got good in you, so if you're a good person, you're gonna do good. You're gonna do good based on your understanding. But if you come into the true understanding and the true knowledge of a virtuous woman, wow, unbelievable. But let me move on, So the brother, his inclinations are must be totally focused on his seeing and being seen in the service of his Lord. His wifey, his family, his community, because you got to understand, brother, that a man is judged on two principles. It's all said and done. He's judged on how well he provides and maintains his family. That's how a man is judged. Not on what you think he's judged on, but a man is judged based on how well he provides. Now that provision, it can come from food, clothing, shelter, spiritual development, his walk in the Creator, the principles of his essence, what comes out of any one of the 7 gates to his soul, what he's hearing, what he's seeing, what he's smelling and breathing, and what he's speaking and eating, both in the physical and in the spiritual. Because you got to understand, the scripture is not to be meant to take in literally and physically in that perspective. Scripture is all spiritual and mental. So you got to understand that. So this man that this virtuous woman is submitting to, is to his spirituality and his submission and his mentality that is wrapped up in the totality, of the master of the universe. That's a virtuous woman. Now, I'm still developing, but I've been on that straight and narrow path, man. And so my wifey, my virtuous wifey, my booby, this is why we're committed for the rest of our lives to prepare ourselves and see ourselves in our future, in the world to come, the world of absolute, absolute, the absolute. So we must stay in Shavah. We must stay in constantly Tishavah. And it's so important. But let me move on. Let me move on here. Okay. You can't and you should not ever submit, sister, to a man that isn't seeking the master of the universe in all of his ways and all of his thoughts. Because your dean, sister, is the dean, or should be, If it ain't been before now, it should be going forward. Your dean should be that of seeking after becoming a virtuous woman. Huh? Now, not just reading what says in Proverbs, the 31st chapter, the 10th to the 31st verse. I mean, that's what, 20-something verses. That ain't it. That's just to say, oh, wow, what is this? Oh, wow, I got to find out more about her. That's what you do when some of you who don't know me, you're going to Google, you're going to search. Who is this brother? Who is he? What qualifies him to say what he's saying? The 30 years I've been married to my wife, partner. That's the experience, the sacrifice, the suffering, the pain and affliction, the errors, the transgressions, the sinful actions, seeking atonement and forgiveness, seeking his mercy and his grace, and being ordained and anointed and appointed for this time to speak this word by him and from him, and by his authority to be bold about it and speak into the wind. So let me move on here. So like I said, sisters, you cannot submit to a man that is not seeking the master of the universe in all of his ways and in all of his doings. Oh yeah, the brother can go after her, but at the end of the day, sister, you the one got to say yes. So you control the outcome. So be careful what you ask for, because you might just get what you asking for. So you got to be careful, sister, in your selection. See, your selection been off. Let me tell you something. I met my wife 30 years ago, and I met her in New Brunswick, New Jersey, on July 17th at 8:34 p.m. in the evening in front of the Elks Club in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Myself and Reverend Al Sharpton was there to speak out pertaining to this police brutality, police shooting of Sean Potts, who was killed in the alleyway because a police officer said that his foot got stuck in a box and his gun discharged, and he shot Sean in the back and killed that young brother. But me and Sharpton was there, me and Reverend Sharpton was there and speaking to the people. And my wifey's cousin, Kathy Gurrell Johnson, or Kathy Johnson Gurrell, she brought my wife there because she knew that I was coming. And she wanted my wife to meet me because she said this bad brother is coming here to speak and you got to meet him. Because my wife was an evangelist at that time in the church. My wife was a firestone. That woman there, boy, see, this is what you don't know. My wife is full of the glory and the sanctification, and that girl can speak a word that can shake the foundation of the earth and steel sharp and steel, because I know I'm on my dean. But at any rate, and so I saw this power in my wife, but I knew when I saw her, she had to be with me. I knew it. The first time I saw her, Sister Kathy brought her to me. I held her hand, just 30 years ago. Held her hand, man. I felt the skin from her hand, and I just wouldn't let her hand go. And I asked her, how can I get in contact? She said, I know your cousin. I said, I don't need your cousin number, I need your number. That night, me and my wife was on the phone from 11 p.m. in the morning to 7:45 a.m. the next morning, just talking, laughing. That next day, she was feeding me buffalo wings at a cookout. We've been together ever since. Within 30 days, 3 weeks, I proposed to her. I asked her to marry me. She said yes. 5 months later, we were married. That's 30 years ago. Huh? But I saw in her, because I asked her certain questions in that first phone conversation, and I was going off of my spiritual and mental checklist. And I saw that I didn't know when I saw her, because when I saw her, they told me, when I found out that she can preach the word, but when she came and saw me, she had on this sundress. and had this bandana on her head. Huh? That's the outfit she had on, right? And her legs looked like, I saw her legs, so I knew how Solomon would respond to her legs, but they were like golden, not a mark on them. I looked at her, oh yeah, brother, I look, you know me, you know how we do. I took a good look. I took a good inventory. There's a checklist. Oh yeah, beauty got to be there too for me. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So I saw her, man, behind her veil. And she got these little dimples too. So I understand what Solomon talking about. Huh? So I saw her. And then when we got to talk that night, it was so incredible that I knew. Because I was always seeking the truth. Because after 400 years, man, of oppression in this land for me and my forefathers, you got to understand something. See, my father, on the day of his death, on the day of my brother Akbar's death, we went to go bury him because my family was Muslim. My family Muslim. Not was, they are. They're Muslims. And so we went to have my brother Akbar's janazah. And me and my father stood on the corner of South 10th Street and Avon Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. And my father said this to me, because y'all don't know my story. Everybody got a story. But we get to my story another time. I'm going to tell you about my love story right now. But anyway, I need to put this out there. So my father said to me, he said, son, I wish we had more time together to build something. And I was standing there with my father and my firstborn son, little Shaheed, Emmanuel. And he was right. He was just only 2 years old. Right? So I'm standing there with my son. And my father, I said to my father, I said, out of you came me. We have built something together. Out of you came me, and I represent your good. I represent your good. Now, my father didn't father me and show me how to be a father or how to be a righteous man. My father was in and out of prison, but he kept teaching me. So let me correct that. So he kept teaching me his good. So I'm a manifestation of his good. And I'm a manifestation of the good of my grandfather, Charles Popeye Watson. I'm a manifestation of his good. And I'm a manifestation of his father's good, and a manifestation of his father's good, and a manifestation of his father's good, and a manifestation of his father's good. So I don't live my life for me. I live my life to please my maker in the good of the generations that preceded me, and to carry and to live on that deen and that principle. And that was also makes me the kind of man that I am today, and why I love my wifey so much. Because we stand on the shoulders of the good that came before us. And we're seeking the master of the universe. So after 400 years of oppression here in America, the experience of black love was crushed when they took us, the value of it, when they took us from our motherland and separated our families, and castrated our men and murdered millions in the Middle Passages. This is generation of psychological damage. Took our name from us, took our God from us, took our speech from us, took our culture from us, took our family values and morality away from us. And that's why today you see no morality here. Where's the morals and the values based on the principles of the master of the universe? So I'm cut from a different cloth, and I stand and always and will continue to stand for truth, justice, and equality. And in that, I will have freedom of everlasting life by returning to the ways, the thoughts of my forefathers that lived them according to the divine instructions. So I'm in this world. I'm not of this world. I'm from a whole nother kind of being. So when you talk about being born again, you got to be born again by or born again by renewing your mind, as David talks about in Psalms. And what Master Universe say, your ways and your thoughts are not mine. So you got to come into his ways and his thoughts and renew your mind. And so you remove the inclinations of evil inclinations in your flesh, man, and you replace each and every one of them with a commandment or a precept from the Master of the Universe. So the man got to uphold the entire book in all of his being and in all of his essence. And that virtuous woman is another kind of woman. It's not just an ordinary woman you see today. But let me move on here. So black love, black love, must be reestablished. I'm not saying this be offensive to anybody. I'm just talking about particular to my household. Is that we have to now remove the curse that what we experienced for 400 years of our children being divided on plantations and given a foreign name that did not reflect their forefathers, given a foreign religion that truly did not reflect the spirituality or the consciousness, and the consciousness and the wholeness. That's where that word holiness comes from. It was saying, and the wholeness, of the Master of the Universe. So therefore, we have to remarry unto the Lamb of the Master of the Universe. Because the lamb, the lamb represents meekness. The lamb represents submission. The lamb represents obedience. When you see a sheep, you see a lamb. It is a humble animal. So we have to manifest, being that we are the superior being, we have to manifest another degree, a higher intellect, and represent insight of the Lamb in all of our ways and all of our doings to the Master of the Universe. That's why your prayer life, see, my wifey is a prayer warrior. Oh, she will bust something up. Oh yeah, she will bust something up terrible. So therefore, even when I hear her praying, it does something special to me. It turns me on, brother. And I'm not saying this to be out of place. Man, I get a serious spiritual heart on. When I can sit back and I can hear, my virtuous wife speak that word. Or I can hear my virtuous wife, come forth in prayer. And she breaks stuff up and cast out. See, that's that virtuous. See, prayer is music to my Father, to my Abba's ear. It is melody that he loves to smell and taste. Our prayers of the righteous. The prayers of the righteous. So therefore, we got to understand what our true dean is. Let me move on here. So black love is a reality, that must be reestablished. And what our black women went through, she's been the glue to hold us together, brother. Because that helped me. That all black woman, she's no matter what, she kept the family together. The virtuous woman is the cornerstone. That's why people have Big Mama's house or Auntie house. That person that was that cornerstone, that virtuous woman. He who finds a virtuous woman, finds a good thing. Not he who finds a woman. Oh, no. This scripture is talking about something totally different. Totally different. She's not entertaining gossip. She's not entertaining being selfish and evil and jealous. That's another kind of woman. We can no longer look at each other through the eyes of an alien thought process, an alien thinking, an alien culture, an alien this, that, and other that happened to us through our sojourn. So the master of the universe, we must return to him. They did a job on the relationship between the black man and the black woman. I got to say this to you because that's my experience. I see other cultures, though, they live in their life. They never been ripped apart as a family and turned upside down like we have. That's why we say Black Lives Matter. But you got to value black lives, brother. You can't be killing each other and hating on each other. You got to have this kind of love. And if you have a virtuous mother and you have a father that's seeking after the master of the universe and giving you his best, then you got to fall in line to represent that good and not this selfish influence that you are getting from this world. Because they say a good name is worth more than silver and gold. See, that virtuous woman upholds her husbandman in his absence. Let me move on here. Because we'll have another discussion. But see, so many have lost the knowledge of self. We have become our own worst enemy because we still glorify the life and the lifestyles of our oppressors.